Hi, I'm Daniel. What actually makes you really enthused and motivated in the morning when you get up? It has to be something that is bigger than you, that is a higher cause, that is a purpose that you are looking for, that you are serving for. And actually, I was always interested in that. And my first hint was when I worked in 1997 as a volunteer for an American social justice organization for 1.5 years. And I was really fascinated how many people can serve something bigger than themselves and lead the world to a better state. And this was so fascinating that I even wrote a dissertation about the organizations, the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. This is also why I am still doing a podcast that is on NGOs and shares newest trends in this sector. I was really excited when I saw that there is a day actually happening every year that celebrates non-governmental organizations and the people and volunteers that are committing to something bigger than themselves and higher purpose. And that is the World NGO Day. Let me tell you a little bit more about it. It happens on the 27th of February every year. It is marked since 2010 and more recognized. The person that introduced this World NGO Day is Marcis Skadmanis. He is a Latvian-born British social entrepreneur, lawyer, and philanthropist. He was born in 1984. He has a degree in law, but also an honorary degree that he received for his outstanding contribution to international relations. And he is known for founding the World NGO Day. And I'm happy to introduce to you now Marcis Skadmanis. Hello, Marcis.
Hi, hello.
Why do you think are NGOs these days still important, still relevant?
Well, it's a good question, but I would say NGOs are extremely important in today's world because they contribute a lot to civil society, to environment, to a lot of different fields. We can see NGOs from in different sectors. There are small grassroots organizations, there are medium-sized organizations, and there are large international organizations like NGOs. But most important thing is that when the people come together like a group and have the mission or cause that they believe in, they have this opportunity to register an entity and execute, develop their mission or cause for what they believe in. There's so many NGOs at different levels, from village, county or city level to international NGOs that are doing a great job in different fields, from business to environment to civil society protection to anything else that you would like to imagine, because always there is a space where NGOs can do something and contribute to society and to environment.
Right. And if we would think of that in business terms, actually, we could even say these are specialized actors that are really serving the cause more efficiently than other organizations. So it actually makes sense to contribute to them because they are able to reach out to their specific audience or work on their special cause much more efficiently.
Exactly. So that's an important thing, and most important is that they really believe in their cause and just keep doing and doing also track records that like society can look what exactly NGO is doing. There are numbers of citizens that just don't understand the role of NGOs, and they think they're just wasting their money, they are wasting time, they are useless, But it's about, most important is to educate. The NGOs are very important for today's world, and especially today's when we talk about Covid Pandemia, when we can see how NGOs actually work and contribute, from information campaigns about COVID to really taking action, like supporting families or victims in violent families, or when it comes health, mental health, that there's NGOs that are focusing on mental health. In today's world, NGOs actually playing very important role, because where government can't step in or actively, quickly help, then NGO can do that.
Yeah. And this is the message, I believe, for the year 2021 to especially reinforce during this new crisis that we are facing right now, and of course also hits a lot of NGOs very, very hard.
That's so true. I wanted to say, we see that NGOs are very important in today's world, because they are like the first kind of responders that are there to help. But at the same time, they are the ones that actually victims of COVID-19 because of economic downtowns and other things that are happening right now in different countries, cutting budgets, cutting sponsorships, cutting finance and sources to NGO sector, So it's just what I can personally say. I would like to raise awareness that private individuals, philanthropists can step in and start help how much they can help the local NGO communities,
So if we take this thought further, how actually should like a non-profit organization participate if they listen now through the podcast maybe, or see this video, would like to start something? There's still a lot of time, the 27th of February. How should they get involved?
So first thing, I would say from the marketing point, NGOs can spread the message on their social medias. They think, look, we have this February 27th. This is our day, and we would like to talk about our issues and what we are doing, how we are helping, why we are important, and what kind of problems we are facing in today's new reality. So I think this is a great kind of platform opportunity for them to, as a whole, to spread a message and also point to the local governments or national governments or international organizations that they need help. So I would say that also it's important that they can use this International Day as an opportunity, not just talk about their issues, but talk about the global issues that they are working on, from environmental protection to mental health to other relevant things that they are carrying every day, on everyday base. So also, I believe it's a great opportunity for them to engage with the local media and spread the message and talk about them and their work, and actually educate society why they are important. And that's actually is an opportunity maybe to attract resources or potential fundings from the local or national philanthropists, or individuals that they don't think that they are philanthropists, but they have access to funds or finance, and they can contribute somehow, and not necessarily financially contribute. There's as well other ways how to help and support this sector.
Right, and so on the one hand, the NGOs that get their voice heard through this International Day and initiative, and also contributors, philanthropists who can step in. How should private organizations, corporations actually involve with this day? Do you have an idea, or is this NGO only?
No, this is not NGO only. And at the early stage, when the World NGO Day was initiated and then developed as an international day, the idea was to acknowledge NGO sector. But when we talk with the word acknowledge or raise awareness of NGO sector, it means to involve as well other elements like private sector, government, and also like citizens of countries. So to be aware that this is that we have NGOs that actually do good for society and for our environment. And most important thing, how private sector can get involved is reach out at local community organizations or NGOs and ask actually what kind of help you need. Just ask, and that's the most important message. And that's a way how they can engage and find way how they can support NGO sector. I want to let you know that like in last 4 or 5 years, there were numbers of corporates and private, like large corporates and small companies that used to take active part of World NGO Day and or showing or raising awareness how they are supporting NGO sector. And an example I can mention, like from the large corporates like Microsoft, that is always been actively involved in NGO sector, creating softwares and programs and tools, and also donating money to NGO sector in different countries. There's a lot of ways how to engage corporate world. I can tell you that 8-9 years ago, when it comes corporates, for corporates was very difficult to understand from corporate world point how we can get in touch with NGOs, how we can support, and especially I'm talking about the countries that NGO sector is not very well developed. So because corporates in those particular areas used to think that NGO sector is like I would say not viable sector, or not those organizations or initiatives are not viable for communities. But that was their way how they use the thing. Time's going and time's changing, and also when international communities step in and raise awareness of NGO sector, you can see that the private sector attitude slightly is changing, and somehow they try to like develop relationship with NGOs.
And I think that's also a chance that we get really the different players in society connected through such a recognition, and then say, hey, you might be working in a for-profit organization, but look, your company, I can also imagine this, you mentioned Microsoft. I also see always Salesforce as a company who does that. Your company is actually contributing to doing good. You are especially somebody who has been using your imagination and your ideas to bring them forward for an intangible idea. But then at the end, you realize something that is again tangible, like the World NGO Day. There are so many young people that are also looking in these times to have an impact and realize their ideas. So you have so much experience in many sectors. What would you say to other new young people that are young at heart or young at age, how to realize your idea and to stick at your idea?
Right. I believe that everybody of us have our kind of mission in our life, and also like a vision that we would like to do something or help something. So most important thing is to listen to your inner voice, to your intuition, and believe in your mission. So, and be grateful what you have, even if it's small thing, be grateful. And being grateful and reminding every day that you are grateful, you can actually start changing things little by little around you, and then it can become something global. When I started this international day at the early stage, first of all, at that time I was in Latvia and I was studying law. I didn't came from a privileged family. I'm talking in terms of finance, so I didn't have like tons of money. I was participating projects, competitions, getting money awards, and that's how I started to create my own fund. And thinking how I can contribute to society, how I can help, in small ways, and then later in big ways. Because you're doing something important, then sometimes it attracts those people that feels and your mission and are interested to support your journey. When I started, it wasn't easy as a young guy because I met people that were arguing with me, telling me that why do we need other international day and why do we need support NGO sector since we have so many international days that are focusing on different causes. And then I also met people that are interested in my mission and my journey. And then literally when you create this synergy with those people, you can move forward and develop your initiative, in my case, International Day for World NGO Day, for NGOs. And it was a long journey. It was ups and downs, also in my private life, since I went over different difficulties, even before launching World NGO Day in 2014. In 2013, I lost a few family members of my own family in tragedy. And I wanted to give up that time. I felt like, I was actually angry at the world, I felt, why do we need International Day? Who cares, who cares at all about anything, And then somehow I felt that I can't give up. I need to move on, act, because it was kind of energy inside, that moves you, that it tells you that it's your journey and you need to finish your journey. So, and that's how I didn't stop anything. And on 2014, we celebrated the first World NGO Day from Finland internationally, inviting all the international leaders. I was very grateful to see their attitude, that they saw the value of this International Day for future, because I just kind of remembered how long was the way to reach, to that point, to raise awareness of and kind of release to public this International Day, But like I said, most important thing is to believe in yourself and also not to listen to other people, opinions or assumptions, because those opinions, assumptions sometimes could be based on those people, mental health issues, because the way how they grow up or they used to learn, and they think, look, this is not right, don't do that, or this is not going to work, because some of those people have their own barriers, and that's how and then they try to encourage other people, and tell advice. There's a lot of things, but most important is that energy that you are carrying in the journey. World NGO Day for me was international days that I created in the past, and now I'm focusing on different other initiatives and important projects that are doing good for society, and raising awareness of specific activities that I'm involved. But like I said, dream big. That's the most important thing, and don't give up. Even if you feel you can't, don't give up. But sometimes, we want to dream big and we want to have big labels, big brands, But sometimes it's okay what you have, in that level, what you have, and if you're going to continue doing, it's going to grow up to something big and important.
Right. And well, I cannot thank you enough for this inspirational answer. Actually, I think everything is in. So you have to have belief in yourself. Your attitude is there. Also listen to your inner voice. If I can sum it up, I haven't forgotten anything, and keep on going even in hard times. And this especially I find very touching and been. So thank you for holding through and also, well, realizing your purpose for organizations that have a purpose that they can now shine. I think this is absolutely amazing. And if you think about looking back to this legacy, what would you like the World NGO Day to be in hindsight? Whatever, I think you are 80.
So basically, what's every year when World NGO Day happens on 27th of February, for me it's like a New Year Eve, you know, a New Year Day, when you see that around the world some different NGO groups, governments, leaders of governments, local governments, corporates are doing something for World NGO Day. And in that moment, I just feel very, very, very happy, because I see the result. How important is this International Day NGO for society, for them, and you kind of feel like that you know, that message when Marcus when I was like back 10 years, 15 years, you know, back, you know, when I started this World NGO Day, when it was just the idea and then all those up and downs, you know, and putting together those emotions with what you're experiencing an actual day, it's just amazing, because it's the feelings that you just see, like how important is this International Day, and actually how NGOs can use this as a platform to raise awareness and talk. For future, I see World NGO Day is going to grow because of NGOs. Without the NGOs, we can't live. And it means also World NGO Day always going to be there to acknowledge, to mark, to raise awareness of this international, within International Day, those NGO sectors. So what I want to say as well, that it's important that I see that international leaders, also international institutions like Council of Europe or agencies or like organizations of European Union are stepping in and raising awareness on World NGO Day, connecting with their NGOs that they are supporting or they work with. I think that is very powerful voice. It's powerful for the countries where human rights are not really rights, or where NGO sector doesn't exist really. It's important that these international leaders are taking this platform and actually acting and raising awareness of NGO sector.
I really hope that everything is going to move into this direction and the World NGO Day gains traction every year. It's a great legacy that you have, that you already have, and a great seed that you planted. And so thanks for your contribution and for this interview today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thanks. So thanks for watching this interview. I hope you liked it. And don't forget, the World NGO Day happens on the 27th of February. So enough time for you to plan something around it. And again, thanks for watching. If you're interested in this topic and other topics around NGOs, the digital transformation technology, and also new trends in this field, why don't you subscribe the podcast NGO Weekly? You'll find the address with a QR code in the next slide. Thank you very much and looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.